So today I'm going to share with you how to develop divergent stack bar charts using Excel from the scratch. I mean from the data sets. So usually you use the divergent stack bar charts to represent survey responses where opinions among respondents tends towards two different opposite direction. So maybe participants, liked something or they disliked an event, or maybe their opinion about something is too bad or too good. But in this situation, their opinion is actually in disagreement or agreement with questions asked in the survey. So this survey had about 5 questions, and to every of the questions, participants could select any of these 6 Likert scale options. So this point here marks the midpoint between the 2 options. As you can see, the blue color changed from light blue to blue and to very deep blue. And if participants actually selected disagree or strongly disagree, this light orange color too would have changed from light green, light orange to a very dark orange that you see here. So getting to draw or getting to develop this graph, let's get started with the analysis. So I'm going to be sharing with you the data set I used for this analysis. 11 people participated in the survey, and these are the 5 questions asked. But before I start the analysis, I do like my questions to be at the column, the first column instead of the first row. So I can just do that by transposing my table. I highlight the entire table and enter. So you can see now, these are my questions. These are the questions asked in the survey. And these are the 11 participants. You can see from 1 to the 11th. And the first participant here agreed with the 5 questions asked in the survey. So the next thing for me to do now is to know how many people agreed, strongly agree, or chose any other options for every of the questions. And that I get to do by creating this table. You can see here before me, these are the question, and to the first question, none of the participants strongly disagree, or somewhat disagree. They either somewhat agree, or strongly disagree to every of the question. And all of these questions, 11 of the participants, they all selected at least an option for this survey. So the next thing for me to do is to convert these values to percentages. And how do I go to do that? I create another table, the same table, but it's empty. Then I can compute my percentage, and that I can do by selecting each of the cell and dividing by the 11, which is the total number of participants who participated. You can see now I have that at 0%. So to populate the entire table with the percentage, I just need to drag this down. You can see. Then I also need to drag to the right. And again, drag it down. You can see now I have the percentages. Sometimes if you try to drag it down and it's bringing for you decimal instead of percentage, all you have to do is you highlight the entire table and click on this icon, and you still get the same thing that I got. So the next thing that I'm going to do now is to get a buffer. The purpose of the buffer is to establish midpoints for all my bars. So I insert and call this buffer 1 and the second buffer 2. So I compute this buffer by saying 1 minus the addition of all this disagreement options. So that would just be this plus this plus this. 100%, then I drag down as usual. Then I come here as well to get the second buffer, and that is 1 minus. Now I'm going to be using the addition of the agreement options. So this plus this plus this, enter, and I just drag down. You can see now, the next thing for me to do now is to get my graph. And that I can easily do. As I highlight the entire table, I select insert, click on recommended charts. Now I'm not going for clustered bar. I'm not going for stack bar. What I need is the 100% stack bar. So I just click OK. Now there needs to be some corrections. So you can see now here, I have the questions here, but where I decide to have the question is to have it at the vertical side of the graph instead of having the options here. So I can easily make that done by selecting this funnel, select data, and I just switch. Okay, you can see now I have my questions in the vertical axis and the options here. So the next thing for me to do is make buffer 1 and 2 invisible. And how do I do that? I change the color to white. You see, I can just say white. You can see it's all gone. I change the buffer 2 as well. I right click and select white. Now is invisible. Then one thing again I need to do is that I need to change the colors to match what I want. So I think this strongly agree color is okay for me, but I need to change this green to blue. So how do? I also right click and I select the blue that I want. So I think I'll prefer this blue color. Then I need to make this somewhat agree lighter, because if I decide to go with it, there's no much unique distinction between it. So I right click as well and I change to the color that I want. You can see it's a bit faint. It's almost invisible. I can select another blue color that can be visible for me. So I think this is better. So the next thing is I need to change this somewhat disagree to a light red color. So I also right click and select what I need to have there. So I can select this. You see now? So now the next thing for me to do is I get rid of this because I don't need it anymore. And I also get rid of the grid line. You right click. So now you see what I have here is looking great, isn't it? So the next thing to do, I want to bring this graph down. So we have a clean page. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I really want to get rid of this percentage as well. Now I have something like this. Then I also want to get rid of this line here, and that I can do by right clicking, then format axis. For format axis, I'll click on this pink bucket. Now you have this line. This is automatic, but I want no line. And when that is done, you see it's gone. Then I can also get this bigger. I can get this bars, can widen the shape. And how do I get the shape widen? I also click on it. I can click on any of it and right click, format data. Then in the gap width, I'll make sure I want to reduce the width in between. And as I reduce the width, it gets bigger. So instead of having the width at 150, I can make the width 50. You can see it's bigger now. So I can make it wider. Then I think I need to change the title to match what I want to analyze, which is the outcome of a professional development program. Right. So the next thing for me to do is I want to have the data label. I want to have the percentages reflecting. So what do? I just go directly, I click each of it, and I select this positive and I check the data label. You can see I have the data label ready. I do the same thing. And that's it. So one thing I need to do here is I need to get rid of these zeros. So I just do that by, I'll click on that, I delete. So right now, you see, you can barely see the percentages or the values of this dark blue portion of the bar. So what I need to do is to change it from black to white so it's visible for me. And that I can do by, I just click on this, then I go to home, then I change it to white. You can see I can even make it darker, and I can also increase the font size just to make it bigger. Then I can do this for this as well, make the font size bigger, get it to white, make it bolder. So I don't think I need to change this to white because it's easy to see. I can just make it bigger and bolder. I do the same thing here, make it bolder, and also get it bigger. You see right now? So there is a bit of overlap. So because of that, I can try to increase the length, or I can try to make it smaller because I don't want it to be clumsy. I can make it maybe 10, right? Make it a bit smaller again, just to make sure that there's no overlap. It's easier to read. So now that is done, I can also make this bigger a bit, increase the font size, make it darker, or I can still make it lighter, it's okay. I can make this and increase the font size as well, just to make everything look appealing. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I need to create the key. And creating the key for me is one of the easiest things to do. So one thing I just have to do is I write every of the options here. You type it, key, strongly agree, strongly disagree. You start from strongly disagree. Disagree. Somewhat disagree. Somewhat agree. Agree. And strongly agree. So I can make it bigger, not really bigger, just to ensure that I have everything in a cell. So I can left justify it to have it here. So the next thing is I need to get a color match with what I have represented here. So I can start from the strongly agree. You can see this deep blue color. I just go to this bucket here and select that exact color. You see now? Then this agree, I also look for a color match of the blue, and I also get that selected. The same thing goes for the somewhat agree. So for the somewhat disagree as well, I go to get the color that I need. For the disagree, of course, we don't have the disagree here, but we can actually get the color written. So the color match for strongly disagree will be a very deep orange color, which is something like this. So now, to have the background match together, I can make this entire place white. You can see now there's a match. And really, this is how you get to develop the entire graph. So easy, isn't it? So really, this is how to develop a divergent stack bar chart. You can share with me your thoughts, your feedbacks in the comment section. That will be very helpful to me. And you also try to get more updates on my quantitative analysis work through my blog posts, quantitative data analysis. You'll see the link down there as well. And try to subscribe to my channel to get more updates on all of this kind of analysis. I wish you the best.